It was 3:12 p.m. on a Thursday when my phone buzzed. Nothing dramatic. Just a soft vibration against the kitchen counter while I rinsed out my son's juice cup. I wiped my hands, glanced at the screen. It was from Anna, our nanny. She usually texted my wife, but she and I had an ongoing thread for logistics. Pickup times, grocery notes, photos of Daniel eating too many strawberries. But this wasn't that. It read, "He has your eyes today. You'd melt if you saw him." Then, "Don't worry, he didn't say anything. But he almost slipped." Followed by a heart. I just froze. You know that moment when time slows down but everything inside you speeds up? That was me. Standing over a juice cup with my heartbeat in my ears. I scrolled up. No prior context. No messages since Monday. I reread it 3 times. Your eyes. Almost slipped. Didn't say anything. What the hell was she talking about? At first I thought maybe it was meant for someone else. Maybe she sent it to me by mistake. People do that, right? But Anna wasn't reckless. She was precise. Military precise. Never late. Never forgot a note. Always signed texts with initials, even to my wife. This was intimate. This was coded. And it cracked something open in my brain. A file I hadn't touched in years. A file labeled, "What if Daniel isn't mine?" I never said that out loud. Never even let myself think it for more than a second. But now the thought was here. Sitting beside me at the kitchen counter. Sipping juice. Staring at me with those big brown eyes. Eyes that weren't mine. Not really. I didn't say anything that night. Not during dinner. Not during bath time. Not even when she leaned her head against my shoulder while we watched cartoons, the smell of his shampoo still clinging to my hoodie. Because I was watching. Not her. Him. Daniel. 4 years old. Laughed like me. Or maybe I just believed that. Ran with his arms flailing out like wings, like I used to when I was a kid. But his eyes? Brown. Deep. Too deep. Mine are green. My dad's are green. My wife's blue. Brown eyes are common, sure. I know that. But that night, those eyes burned through me like a test. I kept replaying the message. "He has your eyes today. Don't worry, he didn't say anything. But he almost slipped." Slipped what? What does a 4-year-old know that he could slip? I looked at my wife across the living room. She was scrolling through her phone, legs tucked under her, wine glass balanced perfectly on the arm of the couch. So comfortable. So normal. And then she caught me staring. She smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. It landed short, like it got tired on the way up. "What?" she asked. I almost said it. Almost threw the phone across the table and demanded the truth. But instead I said, "Just tired." She nodded. Sipped her wine. Returned to whatever post she was pretending to read. At midnight I opened her laptop. Not proud of it. Not ashamed either. I've never snooped in my life. But that text had carved a crack in me. And once something's cracked, it only takes a little pressure. No password. She trusted me. Or she never thought I'd look. Inbox. Nothing. Calendar. Empty. Then notes. One file. Untitled. Last edited 2 weeks ago. I opened it. And there it was. It's almost been 5 years. I thought it would fade, but some days I still look at him and wonder if he knows. I see him in Daniel. Not every day. But sometimes, in the corners of his mouth when he smiles, in the way he throws his head back when he laughs. God, if they ever found out. That was it. No names. No dates. Just that. And suddenly my own house didn't feel like home. It felt like a museum. And every photo on the wall was a lie I couldn't stop staring at. I couldn't eat. Couldn't work. Couldn't sit in my own car without seeing that note glowing behind my eyes like a warning light I'd ignored for too long. 3 days passed. 3 full days pretending I was fine. Pretending I didn't know. My wife started noticing. Asked if I was sick. Rubbed my back at night like I was her child, not her husband. Told me I was pale. Said I should see someone. I almost laughed. Because I had seen someone. In the mirror. And he looked like a man who just realized the center of his universe might have never orbited him in the first place. It broke at the barbecue. Family. Friends. Sunshine. Daniel running around with ketchup on his chin and a soccer ball under his arm. Everyone kept saying the same thing. He's your mini-me. The way he talks, just like you. That smile? Total copy-paste. And I smiled back. Nodded. Laughed. But inside I wanted to scream. To shake every one of them by the shoulders and shout. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because it wasn't just about looks anymore. It was about certainty. About knowing what was mine. About not being a goddamn guest in the life I thought I built. Then someone said it. Caleb. My old roommate. Been in our lives since college. Had too many beers. Talking too loud. Man, you lucked out. Kid didn't get her ex's nose, thank God. Time froze. The music, the laughter, the clink of glasses, all of it dropped out. I turned. Slow. Careful. What did you say? Caleb blinked. Realized too late. Shit. I mean, I just meant back when it was nothing, dude. Ancient history. Before you guys even. I walked away before I'd put my fist through his teeth. Because I didn't know what I'd do if I stayed. But I knew what I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't pretend. Not one more second. That night, while she was sleeping, I took Daniel's toothbrush. Sealed it in a Ziploc bag. Then I took mine. And I ordered the test. And for the first time since he was born, I didn't kiss him goodnight. 3 days. That's how long it took. Expedited shipping, 24-hour lab processing, $349 plus overnight courier. Fast truth costs money. And I was ready to pay in more than just cash. The box came on a Tuesday. Unmarked. Unassuming. I knew what was inside the moment I saw it on the porch. She was in the kitchen. Making pancakes. Daniel was laughing at the table, syrup on his fingers, still in his dinosaur pajamas. The same ones I bought him last Christmas. I grabbed the box and walked straight past them. No kiss. No smile. Just straight to the bedroom. Closed the door. Opened the envelope. And there it was. In bold, clinical font. Probability of paternity 0.00%. Nothing. Not 0.3. Not 1 in 100. Just flat zero. Like I never existed in that boy's blood. Like the universe had confirmed what I'd already known deep in my bones. I sat on the edge of the bed. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just stared. At the wall. At the number. At everything I was supposed to be, father, husband, protector, collapsing into a single decimal. She knocked on the door a minute later. Light. Casual. You okay? I opened the door. Held the paper up like it was a goddamn cross. She looked at it. Read it. Her lips parted. Her hand trembled. And then, she exhaled. Like it was a relief. Like the weight of pretending had finally fallen off. I'm sorry. That's all she said. Not. I can explain. Not. It's not what you think. Just. I'm sorry. Like I was someone she'd wounded by accident. Like this was a parking ticket. I asked. Who? She looked down. Didn't speak. How long? Still nothing. Her silence wasn't guilt. It was control. She was choosing not to give me what I needed. And that hurt more than the result. I said. Was it Caleb? Her eyes flinched, the first real tell. Just for a second. But it was enough. She sat down on the bed like her legs stopped working. Pressed her palms to her knees. And said. It was just once. I thought it didn't matter. I laughed. Actually laughed. That bitter, hollow kind that tastes like iron. It mattered. Every goddamn day after. She reached for me. I stepped back. Because what do you do when the woman you built a life with hands you the truth like a glass shard and expects you to thank her for not hiding it anymore? I didn't leave right away. I should have. Any sane man would have walked out that door with nothing but a wallet and a name. But I stayed. For Daniel. Even after the test. Even after the truth. Because he still ran to me when he scraped his knee. Still asked me to check under his bed for monsters. Still called me Dad. And what was I supposed to say? Sorry, kid, I'm not in your blood, so I'm not in your life. I slept in the guest room. Didn't touch her. Didn't speak unless I had to. She gave me space, too much of it. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. Didn't try to win me back. Like she already knew I was gone. It was the neighbors who started talking first. Then the texts. Then the questions at work. You guys okay? Haven't seen her post in a while. Heard something happened. People always know. Even when they pretend they don't. I got a call from Caleb. Didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Didn't mention the test. Didn't mention her. Just said, "Let me know if you want to talk. I'm here." I wanted to drive to his place. Kick his door in. Make him admit it face to face. Make him feel what I felt. But I didn't. Because even revenge felt too intimate. Too close. Daniel drew a picture at preschool. Me, him, and her. Stick figures under a sun with 3 hearts. My family, written in crooked letters. I stared at it for hours. Like it could rewrite DNA. When I tucked him in that night, he looked up at me and asked, "Am I still your boy?" I broke. Couldn't hold it. Tears I didn't know were still in me just spilled down my face like betrayal's final act. I held him tighter than I ever had. "Always," I whispered. "You hear me? Always." He nodded. Wiped my cheek with his sleeve. Smiled. And in that moment, I hated her more than I thought was humanly possible. Because she put a fault line in a love that was supposed to be unbreakable. And now every time he looked at me, even the dog looked at me different. She knocked on the guest room door like it was a stranger's house. Didn't wait for me to say come in. Just opened it. Leaned on the frame like we were friends in a movie. "I've been thinking," she said. No apology in her voice. No fear. Just that same rehearsed calm she used on Daniel when he refused to brush his teeth. I didn't answer. Just stared at her like she was a painting I used to love before I saw the cracks. "You don't have to leave," she continued. "He still needs you. You still love him. I know that." I laughed. Couldn't help it. Short. Dry. Sharp. "So I just stay here? Like a ghost in my own life?" She didn't flinch. Didn't cry. Didn't do anything. Just stepped into the room. Hands clasped. Voice steady. "What happened? It wasn't about Caleb. It was about me. I felt invisible. You were working, I was drowning, and he listened." "He fucked you," I said. "That's not listening." Her jaw tightened. That was the first crack in the armor. "You think I didn't carry the guilt? You think I haven't hated myself every day? Not enough to tell me the truth." Silence. Heavy. Honest. Then she sat on the bed beside me, not close, but not far. "You think you were perfect? You think you didn't check out the moment things got hard? You left me emotionally long before I ever did anything physically." I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time in our marriage, I saw her for what she really was. Not evil. Not broken. Just cold. Strategic. Precise. Someone who learned to survive by manipulating the room. She didn't love me. Not really. She loved the idea of being loved. She loved the control it gave her. The image. The leverage. The house. The ring. The title. She loved watching people orbit around her gravity, even if it crushed them. So what now? She asked. I stood. Walked to the window. Watched Daniel chasing shadows in the backyard. Now, I said. Now I stop lying to myself. Because the only thing worse than being betrayed is pretending it didn't happen. I started packing that night. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet movements, shirts, socks, toothbrush. She didn't try to stop me. Didn't ask where I was going. Didn't cry. And that's when it really hit me. She wasn't losing a husband. She was losing a prop. A piece of her structure. Something stable and silent and useful. And me? I wasn't walking away from a marriage. I was walking away from a lie I helped build. Because I kept asking how she could do this to me. But the real question was, why did I let her? The truth? I saw it years ago. In the way she avoided my eyes when Daniel was born. In how she panicked when the nurse asked if we wanted to double-check the blood type. In how she shut down every time I talked about having a second kid. I saw it. I chose not to look. Because the idea of starting over terrified me more than being lied to. Because I wanted to believe I'd won something. A wife, a child, a life people envied. But I wasn't building a family. I was filling a hole. The one left by a father who never called. A mother who never held me. A childhood where silence felt safer than asking questions. Daniel gave me purpose. She gave me structure. And I convinced myself that was love. Because love, real love, felt too uncertain. Too fragile. Too risky. So I built a fortress of routine, and let her decorate it with half-truths. And I called it home. Daniel saw the suitcase. Walked up with his little fingers curled into his shirt. You going to work, Dad? I looked at him. God, that face. Still mine. Not by blood. But by everything that mattered. No, buddy, I said. I'm just going to stay somewhere else for a little while. He nodded. Didn't cry. Just said, okay. But you'll come back, right? And I couldn't answer. Because I didn't want to lie. Not to him. Not anymore. I moved into a small rental across town. No pictures on the walls. No toys in the living room. No reminders. Except the ones in my head. And those come everywhere. I see him in the cereal aisle. In the back seat of other people's cars. In every little boy's laugh that sounds too much like the one I tucked in for 4 years. He still calls. Every few nights. Or she calls for him, I don't know. I just know when I hear his voice, something in me unclenches. And then tightens again the moment we hang up. We met at the park last Sunday. She stood off to the side while he ran to me, arms out, yelling my name like I was still everything. And maybe I was. To him. We threw a ball. Laughed. Pretended nothing had changed. And then he stopped mid-throw and said, When I grow up, I want to be just like you. I smiled. Held it together. But inside? Everything caved in. Because I wanted that too. I wanted to give him a version of manhood that wasn't laced in silence and absence and shame. I wanted to protect him from her lies, from my mistakes, from this world. But I can't. Not fully. Not anymore. When it was time to leave, he hugged me tight. Said, Love you, Dad. And I said it back. Because it's still true. In the way that truth can hurt more than any lie. She never looked me in the eye. Not once during the whole visit. But before they walked away, she said, You don't have to disappear. And I said, I already did. She nodded. No fight left in her. Just a quiet agreement. She gave him my number again. Wrote it on his hand in marker. Call me whenever, I said. Even if you just want to talk about dinosaurs. He smiled. Waved. And then he was gone. Down the path, hand in hers, bouncing like nothing was broken. And maybe that's the one grace in all of this. He doesn't have to carry the fracture. I will. Every goddamn day. Because blood doesn't make you a father. But sometimes it takes losing everything to understand why you wanted to be one at all.